Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yasharah's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But first and foremost, as always, you know how we do. We give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Wahar Rakar Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity, all praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women, all praises to you too. And the camps and the solo brothers going out there, making videos, edifying the body, pushing the truth according to scriptures, all praises. Now, as always, as you know how I do, I like to keep it very simple and to the point. And I'm going to do that just today once again. I'm going to go to the last book of the Bible, Revelations chapter 22 and verse 14. Yeah? Something that the Christian church love to negate is keeping the laws, statutes and commandments of the Most High. But here's the thing. This I'm going to is the last chapter in the whole Bible. After this chapter, it's a done deal. There's nothing more there. So let's see what it says. I'm going to read actually verses 14 and 15. Yeah? And to show who the kingdom is for, who's getting in and who won't. It's just going to be that plain and simple. Yeah? And you know what? And I'm keeping it very simple today on this one here. Just want to read Revelations chapter 22 verses 14 and then 15. And then what we're going to do, we're going to revisit the verses and we're going to break it down blow for blow, precept upon precept, line upon line, a little here, a little there, to get the proper understanding. And, you know, if you don't agree, that's up to you. But I would like you to show me, like, what this verse means, if it doesn't mean what, you know, the Bible. I'm not going to say what I'm saying, what the Bible says it means, because it's very self-explanatory. But, you know, we're going to use other scriptures to back up what John the Revelator is saying. And, you know what? There you have it. So with that said, I'm not going into this long talk. With that said, I'm going to start my timer in 3, 2, 1. Boom! We're away. Here we go. Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. And it reads, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city." Notice how that verse says gates, plural gates, not singular gate. It says gates. Excuse me. Verse 15 of Revelation chapter 22. "For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie." Now, that's the verse right there, yeah, that we're dealing with. Now, let's go back and visit Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14 first. And let's break it down blow for blow, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little, to get the correct understanding. Now, watch this. Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14. And it reads, "Blessed are they that do his commandments." Now let's hold it there, right? It says, "Blessed are they that do his commandments." Now let's jump to the book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verses 2 to 5. Listen to this. Proverbs chapter 7, verse 2. "Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye." Verse 3. "Bind them upon thy fingers, and write them upon the tables of thine heart," in your mind. Verse 4. "Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman." Verse 5. "That they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words." Keeps you from strange doctrine and idols and all other things if you keep the Lord's commandments, which are his laws, statutes and commandments. That's what that's going into. Now, when we go back to Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14, it said, blessed are they that do his commandments. Now, we just broke that down, right? Now, watch this, the next bit. It says, that they may have right to the tree of life. Now, let's hold that there. Now, they may have right to the tree of life. Now, watch this. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 7, and it reads, he that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of, listen to this, which is in the midst of the paradise of the Most High. So if you keep the commandments, you'll have right to that, to when you overcome, meaning keeping the commandments, and obviously you've overcome, you've endured unto the end. When Christ returns, judgment reigns, we all have to appear before the judgment seat of Christ. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you would be found worthy, and you'll have right to that tree of life that, that's in the midst of paradise of God. The kingdom, that's what that's going into. It's very clear. Now, when we go back to Revelation chapter 22 and verse 14, now we first read, blessed are they that do his commandments. We broke that down, that they may have right to the tree of life. We broke that down. Now, watch this. And may enter through the gates into the city. Hear that? And may enter in through the gates into the city. Now, what gates are they? Now, watch this. This is Revelation chapter 21 and verse 12. And it reads, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So that's who the kingdom is pertaining to. No other nation. It's that clear. End of story, yeah? Now, watch this. I'm going to just back that up again with the book of Isaiah, chapter 26, verses 1 to 2. Listen to this. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 1, and it reads, in that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city. Salvation will God appoint for walls and bulwarks. Verse 2. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation, hear that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. So showing you here clearly, it's only talking about one nation. The righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. And what is the truth this righteous nation, which is the children of Israel, should be keeping so they can enter? Psalms 119 verses 151. Thou art near, O Yahweh, and all thy commandments are truth. There it is. And in case you're wondering, I'm going to quickly just jump to Matthew chapter 22 verses 36. Listen to this. This is when the lawyer was asking Christ, Yahushua, which is the great commandment. Now listen to this, yeah? This is Matthew chapter 22 verse 36, and it reads, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Now, I just read that to show you the law, the commandments, the law are one of the same. Just wanted to get that point out there. So that clears up straight away. Revelation chapter 2 verse 14. Now let's jump to verse 15 that I read, at the opening as well. Watch this. Revelation chapter 22 verse 15. And it says, For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So now this next verse is showing who's not going to make the kingdom, who's on the outside, who hasn't made the kingdom. Now let's go back there. Revelation chapter 22 and verse 15. And it says, for without, meaning for who are outside, for without are dogs. Let's stop there. It says, for without are dogs. Now, Now, let's see what that's talking about. Exodus chapter 22 and verse 31. Listen to this. And it reads, "And ye shall be holy men unto me." Remember, this is the Exodus when the children of Israel came out with a mighty hand of the Most High, which he used Moses. But obviously, it's the Most High Yahweh behind all of this. Yeah? I'll just take it from the top again. Exodus chapter 22, verse 31. "And ye shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beast in the field. Ye shall cast it to the dogs." Now, you may think it's talking about the four-legged animal creature dogs, but let's see which dogs this is talking about. Psalms chapter 22, verse 16, and it reads, "For dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked has enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet." That should be quite clear, because dogs didn't pierce Christ's hands and his feet. It was the other nations, the Romans at that time. They were the ones who nailed him to the cross. So what's he saying? The dogs meaning other nations, nations that are outside of the children of Israel. They're referred to as the dogs. Now watch this. Matthew chapter 7 verse 6. Listen to this. This is Christ speaking here once again, Watch this. Matthew 7 verse 6. "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs." You see that? Unto the other nations. That's what he's clearly saying. Don't give them the blessings. And this is where you find a lot of Israelites now are trying to say the other nations, which are not Israelites, can come in if they believe and accept Yahushua and keep the commandments. The Bible doesn't teach that. Those Gentiles the Bible do teach about are Israelite Gentiles, which turned from the truth, took on Greek customs, were speaking Greek, and and got scattered around the world and became, followers of idolatry and of the other nations. That's what that's talking about. But anyway, watch this. Back to Matthew chapter 7 verse 6, and it reads, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you and tear you and destroy you." That's what that's saying. Now, prove that the dogs this is referring to is of the other nations, because I'm going to prove that again. I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 26 and Matthew chapter 15, I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 15, verses 26 and 27. And this is Yahushua Christ. Once again, a woman of Canaan, of another nation, came to him. Now, people like to read this story and say, well, yeah, he still healed our daughter, but he gave her a crumb. I mean, it's just like this. If I went out on Saturdays, I had a loaf of bread for my brother is hungry. So I've gone out to my brother with a whole loaf of bread because my brother, someone of my nation, is hungry. And on my journey, I meet an Edomite, a Caucasian, or someone of another nation, and they're hungry and they're begging me for some of my bread that I've got for my brother. And after I've insulted him and all that, then I decide, okay, I tear off a little corner of one slice and give it to him. Was I out for him? No, I just helped him. There's nothing wrong with helping the other nations. And this is what people miss with this story with Yahushua and the Canaanite. Yes, he gave her a crumb. He healed her daughter, but he did nothing for her. And still, they never got salvation just because he healed the daughter of sickness. So you have to bear that in mind. This is why he said, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That never changed. So even though he gave her her request after a barrage of insults, first ignoring her, and insulting her, calling her a dog, and she agreed, truth. But the point is, he wasn't sent for her. And even though he may have helped her, that doesn't mean he still came for her just because he helped her. He helped her because he could at that moment. He helped her, but he was still headlong on his mission for his people. Now, anyway, with that said, watch this. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 26, and it reads, "But he answered and said, It is not meet," meaning it is not right, "to take the children's bread, the children's blessing, which are the Israelites, and cast it to dogs, cast it to one of another nation, cast it to someone who's not an Israelite." And verse 27, "And she said, Truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table." So she acknowledged her position, so he helped her. But it still doesn't change the fact he didn't come for her, and he gave her nothing but just the request she asked for. Heal her daughter, and that was it. And that was the end of her and her story. Showing you the dogs, the point there was the dogs are someone of another nation. Now let's go back to Revelation chapter 22 and verse 15. Now I just read, "For without our dogs," now it says, "and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie." Now I'm going to clump that all into one, because I don't need to go through them singly. Now, whoremongers, and and when you look at whoremongers, idolaters, what did it say? It said whoremongers, sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Those are, now this part now would be Israelites, because there's a law for the Israelites who were given the commandments, because they fell from it and started to do all these things that is listed. The Most High, through Yahushua, is saying, these people are not getting in either. So not just the other nation, even my people who were into sorcery, whoremongers, murderers, idolaters, and whosoever now loveth and maketh a lie, they're going to be on the outside just as much as the other nations. Now watch this, yeah? This is Malachi chapter 3 and verse 5, and it reads, "And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, and against the adulterers, and against false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow and the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right." That turn aside the stranger from his right. "And fear not me, saith Yahweh of hosts." So even those of our nation who turn away our people that are strangers, you turn them away, you're not being brotherly. Remember, love the Lord thy God with all your heart and mind and soul, and your neighbor as yourself. These two commandments hang you all the law. That's what that's going into. And watch this, I'm going to back that up with Revelation chapter 21 and verse 8. Listen to this. "But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." Now, you know what? I could basically end it right there, because that's now broken down Revelation chapter 22 verses 14 and 15. Right there showing you that it's only for Israel, the Israelites, and it's only for the Israelites that keep the commandments, obviously with faith in Yahushua Christ, because we no longer do animal sacrifice. So Christ's blood is sufficient to forgive us of sins, where under Moses we weren't forgiven. Now, you know what? I think I've made my point there right now already. So I'm going to end it with this. This is Isaiah chapter 66 and verses 22 to 24. Listen to this. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 22, and it reads, "For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall reign before me, saith the Lord Yahweh, so shall your seed and your name remain." The seed of Israel and their name will remain. Verse 23, And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord Yahweh. So everybody will have to come and bow down to the Most High, be it whatever nation you are. At that point, everybody's going to have to serve the Most High in truth and sincerity. Verse 24. And they, watch this now, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. Now, this would be the Israelites, because only the Israelites can transgress. If you know, like, remember, this is Isaiah, and this is to Israel, because Israel was given the law, statutes, and commandments. So if you transgress, and when that day of judgment comes, and you're still found in that same situation, you haven't repented at all by then, this is what's waiting for you. So I think I made my point. Look at that. I haven't timed out. I've still got about 1 minute and 30 seconds left, but I don't want to drag it on. I wanted to make this precise and to the point. So I've made my point. So with that, this is Yasharallah. We out.